Okay, to start off, we're gonna import maya.cmds as MC, and let's create a window first. MC dot, or sorry, let's define it. Define when, and then we're gonna check if it exists. Let's create a variable name here. My window. We'll just do my win. Okay. So we need to check to see if that window exists. If mc.window my win exists. Let's make this full screen. Equals true. We are going to go ahead and delete the UI. So mc.delete UI. Then we can go ahead and create the window. mc.window my win. And then we'll create a layout. mc.lay our column layout. And then mc.show window my win. There we go. And then let's run win. We have an error because we didn't put an argument. This is going to be my skeleton window. And then exist should be with an S. So let's do that. There we go. We get a window. It's super tiny. Let's add something in it. So mc.button. And let's give it a label. And let's call this create Proxy Rig. And I can actually add spaces because that's just a label. There we go. So now we have a button here. If we expand this, we can see my skeleton window is there. That is perfect. Okay, so what are we going to do for the proxy skeleton? We're going to create locators. So we're going to have a locator like that for each joint. Then I'm going to create a curve that connects between the two locators just so that we can easily tell what joint is which, because we are kind of building a relationship between them. You can see if I were to do that. It's a little bit hard to tell that these are a leg chain, so we can create locators that will, curves that will connect between them. Okay, so let us start doing that. Let's expand this again. I'm gonna create a function, define, create, lock. Let's pass that right now, and then we're gonna do a command equals, so that way when we push this button it will run a command, and let's do create proxy rig. Okay, so we need that one. So I'm just kind of blocking in what I need to create. Define create proxy rig. And then let's pass this right now. So this shouldn't give us any errors, and if we do that, it doesn't error out. That's good. Okay, then Let's do another function here. Define create line link. And let's pass because there's nothing in there yet. So this is what I think I need. Oh, I'm gonna need, so with the create line link right here, we're gonna create a line, and then we're gonna create clusters on each line, and then we're gonna align them to the locators. So I'm gonna create an align tool. Just to be able to align those and make it a little bit easier for us. Okay. So when we push the button, we're going to create Proxy Rig. What is Proxy Rig going to do? Let's say we create a locator. We still haven't given it any arguments, so we don't know what it is going to need so far. But we can say mc.space locator. And then let's look at setting this up. Let's add a name equals, and then let's put a variable here, name. So here, let's say this is going to be the pelvis. We'll start off with the pelvis. So I'm going to do C underscore pelvis underscore LOC. So that gives it a name. Let's do lock name. That way we're not using a flag that exists. And then let's, to test this, print this over here. So let's set this as a variable. My lock is equal to this. Okay. And if I do this, we can see that it created it. It's in a list. It's by itself. That is good. And we have it created there. So something to be careful with when we're creating the locator and why we are doing it inside of a function here is that it has a position command. So position equals, and then we can create where it is going to be. So let's say 0 on the X because it's center joint, then 10 in the Y, and then 0 in the Z. Let's say that is what we created. Line 16. Oh, delete UI my win. There we go. So if that still exists and we run this, no issues. Okay. So let's see what happens when we create that locator. Creates it, has it here. This is good, but when we look at the transforms, we have it at 0, 0, 0. It's not at that 10 mark that we created. So that is not going to work for us. So instead of setting the position that way, we are going to have the position. And then let's do my lock equals my lock index of 0, because we're only creating one lock and we know that it's always going to be there. And then we can go ahead and start setting up attributes in it for it. So mc dot set adder. Then we want my lock plus dot tx. We're going to do the position of the first index. So we're going to make this a list with 3 items. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and change it for y and z. Y and z. And this is going to be 1 and 2. Now when I create the locator, I need the position, which is going to be a list, and it's going to be 0, 10, 0. Okay, let's run this and test it. Create Proxy Rig, and here you can see that the locator has the value of the position that we need to preserve. So that is great. We created the space locator and then positioned it right where we need it. Okay, and then let's do return my lock, so that way we can feed it into this out here so that we can use it again in the future. So we can create this as C. Actually, I'll just copy this as the variable name. Just make sure that this runs correctly, and that's fine. That looks like it works. It created a second one. Just to make this easier, and we'll delete it at the end. At the top, I'm going to do mc.select all equals true, and then we'll do an if statement. If we need one more line here. Let's do cell equals mc dot ls sl equals true. So this makes a list of the selected items. If the length of cell is greater than 0, then we'll say mc dot delete. That way, as we are running this, we're going to basically select everything and delete it. So what this will look like is I've created this, and if I create it, I can create multiple here, but if I go through and run this code again, you can see that it should take everything in the scene and delete it again. If there's anything in the scene. So if I were to run this now, it's not going to give us a warning because it checks to see we select everything. If there's anything in the selection, then we delete. So if there is nothing selected, then we don't delete anything. That way we prevent getting the warning. Okay, so let's say that this is accurate. We're going to create a version of this for the left hip, underscore hip, do lowercase. There you go. And this we're going to push off, say positive X, 2 units. And this is going to be L underscore hip. Okay, so run it, test it. That looks right. We can do it right in line or a little bit lower. I'm going to leave it right in line. And then we're going to actually what we can do we want to do that? Nah. I was thinking that we can create a function or create an if statement here. So if the first letter is an L, it's going to create both, but then I'd want to return both. And that will be a list, and we could make that work. I just want to keep it a little bit simpler for me right now. So I'm just going to copy this and oopsies. Paste it here. And we'll switch this to R and R. And before I do that, we want -2. So if I check it here, so the left side is the character's left side. So this is the positive Z. So they'll be facing this way. And if we look at it here, that would be the character's left-hand side. So we have that right, and we have both sides. Okay, and then I'm going to set this up here. Copy, paste. Then this is going to be knee, 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 and knee. Then here I'm going to make it at 5 units. Okay, just testing this out. We have the knees, and I want to actually push it a little bit more forward. So I'm going to put positive Z 1 unit. So it's going to be 1 and 1. And then let's just go back to here, and then do ankle. And ankle. And this is going to be, let's say, at 1, 1, and 1, and 1. Let's test this. And I do like to test a lot to make sure that everything is working fine. The Z direction is a little bit further out than what I want. I don't want 1 for Z, I want 0. Okay, create the proxy rig and let's test it. That looks right. So we have the legs going like that, and then we're going to create the ball of the foot and the toes. Okay, so let's copy this. And then this is going to be at 1. And then let's have that at 1. That is fine. Actually, 0. Because I want it right on the ground. And this is going to be ball of foot. And then ball of foot. And then over here, adjust that. Ball of foot. And ball of foot. Okay, so we have all of that set up. Let's just set up the toes really quick. Toes. Toes. In this rig, I'm not going to do individual toes. So it's all of them put together. Toes. And toes. So this is going to be at 0, 0, 2, 2. And let's create Proxy Rig. There we go. That looks good. Okay, let's go back to the code. Now I am going to create the spine. So I'm going to start off with the pelvis because it's going to be a center joint here. And let's comment this really quick. So we're going to put a comment here. Create pelvis. Then we are going to create right and left legs. And then we're gonna go ahead and create spine. And this line will go over there. Okay, so we have C spine 01 spine 01. There we go. We could give the specific spine names if we want. Let's do that better. Waist and waist. Okay, and then this is going to be just at, let's say, 11. Let's say lower ribs. Or instead of ribs, they'll say chest. Lower chest. Do 12. Sternum. Lowercase s. And then we'll create the sternum here. And then make this at 13. And this is going to be upper chest. I already have chest. Let's upper chest. Then we will have neck. Neck. And this is going to be at 15 because I forgot to update this number. So 13, 14, 15. Then here, it's going to be, actually, let's just copy this because there's going to be another neck joint. This is going to be mid-neck. this is at 16. And then let's do C, or just paste this. We'll do head. So the upper neck is where the head joins and meets. So we'll just call it head here. And this will be at 17. And then let's say, paste this here, and we'll do one more joint. Head, top. Head, top. And then let's say this is at 19. Okay, let's try and test this out. There we go. So we have the spine. That works out well. This is starting to get a little long here, and we can organize the outliner a little bit better just by putting all the locators into a group. So let's do that. So I gotta create more locators for the arms and hands, but let's create a group. Okay, so we're gonna say mc.group, and we will group everything that is with a locator at the end. So star underscore LOC. That star is a wildcard, so it can be replaced with anything. And then let's give it a name, equals there we go. So let's see if that worked. Created a group, and it had one thing in there. That's interesting. So let's steal this over here. And then we'll do mc.select, and then we'll put that expression there and create the proxy rig, and let's see. You can see that it is all grouped into there. And then let's see if with a little g, I don't know why I had a uppercase G, but with the little g it worked fine. We got the name. Let's see if that was my issue. Let's comment this line out, but copy this and see if that works. It might not, but it did work. Cool. So I'm going to keep it without this select one. It was just that I was using the wrong group command, group with the capital G instead of the lowercase g. Okay. So I have created spine. Let's create arms. So I need a clavicle, shoulder, elbow, wrist for the arm here. And I am going to just keep on going with what I got here. I'm going to copy over the upper chest because I'm going to have it start being connected there. Okay, so copy that, paste it here, and then this, let's say, let's start off with the left side. And it's going to be clavicle. I'll just call it clav for short. And we're at 14, but we're going to push it on the X. So we'll do, let's say, what did we do the legs at? Okay, so we'll do 1. Because it's inside of the hips. And then we'll go to the shoulders at 2. So we can copy this and we'll do the right side for the clavicle. Okay, so we have the clavicle. Let's go over to the shoulder. And update that over here too. And let me save this script before I lose everything. So it's going to be my skeleton script. I'll look right over that one. Do I want to replace it? Yes. Okay. Always remember, save early, save often. Okay, so we have the shoulders, although they're the same as the other one. So I'm going to push this out in the X. Then this is going to be the elbow. And we rename these over here too. Elbow. Elbow. Okay. So we have it at 2. So let's see. From 2. We went from 1 to 5 to 10. So let's have this at 6. Okay, let's just run this to make sure everything is working properly. It looks like it is. I do want to put the elbows a little bit further back, so that way we have the bend. So that's -1 in Z. Let's update that. Okay, and then we will go ahead and do the wrist. Wrists and wrist. Then update this over here. Wrist. Wrist. These are going to be at 0. And let's push these out to 11. Create Proxy Rig. And we have that there. That is good. Okay. So now that we have that, we need to create the hands. Do pound create hands. Okay, so we'll start off with the palm. I'm going to just copy this. this is going to start off with the L. Palm and palm. Okay, so I have both of those. Oh, I only have one. This is L. We should be. There we go. Oops. There we go. Oops. I don't want to run it. I just want to paste this here. This is going to be an R. This is going to be an R. And that's going to be negative. We don't want it at the exact same spot. So let's do 12. 12. Okay. Then let's copy this over. And then we'll do finger. Let's do index. There we go. Something's going on with my audio. Let me see if I can fix it really quick. Okay, hopefully that fixes it. Nope. Let me pause the video and I'm going to swap out my mic. Okay, I'm back. Let us, we have index. That's where we were at. Index. Index. And then this is going to be index. And index. Okay, and when I create this index, let's start off. Let's see, forward 1.5. Oops, comma 1.5. And then we'll work our way back. We're going to have multiple index joints. So we're going to start off with 01. Okay. That works out well. And then this will be index 2. Index 2. There we go. And now that I have that, I'm going to keep it in the same Z, but let's put it at 14.5. 0.5. Let's see what that spacing looks like. So I went up in the Y where I want to actually go out in the X. So let's update that. That was my bad. I want 0.5 over here. Okay, so create Proxy Rig. There we go. We have that little bit of spacing there. It's good. Keep on pushing the Windows button instead of Alt. Okay, so that works good. Although I probably want it a little bit more forward, so let's put it half a unit more forward to begin with. So over here we're going to put the 0.5 and the 0.5, and then this is going to be 13. And let's take a look at that. That looks a little bit better. Okay, so we have that for index 2. Now we got to do index 3. And let's update the name over here, index 3. And here we're going to do 13.5.5. That is good. So if we run this, we should have the whole index finger done now. Create proxy rig, 1, 2, 3. Those are the joints that are going to be rotating. Maybe we can create an end joint as well. So let us go ahead and create an end joint. Copy these. Paste them in. And then this is going to be index. Let's do underscore end underscore lock underscore end. And anytime I have an end joint, I'm going to update that as well. So because I want to keep track of the end joints. So the toes are end joints. So underscore end underscore end. And the head, which is in the spine, the head top. This is going to be underscore end. There we go. So now what I can do is copy all of these index fingers. And actually, what I'm going to do to make this a little bit easier is create a new Python tab and paste this in here. Okay, and then I'm going to do find, Control F for find. We get this window here, and then what I want to find is underscore index and replace it with underscore middle. And then let's do replace all. So we can see that it updated all of our names there. Then I'm going to copy this here and then paste that there. And the only thing that I want to do is change the Z position to be at 1, so half a unit closer. Okay, so if we run this and create the proxy rig, we can see we have a second set of fingers. And now looking at it, it's probably a little bit like further than what I want. So I want 2 here and then 2 over there. So I can adjust that on our code. I'm going to copy this over here, paste it. And I don't need the palm, I just need the index here. So what I want is this to be at 1 and then this to be at 0.5. I can do these pretty quickly, but these I'm going to have to do manually. So let's search for comma 1.5 and replace it with comma 1. And let's do replace all. So we can see it updated all of those. Now over here in the middle, we gotta do it manually. 0.5, 0.5. Oops, 2 points. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay. Let's copy all this. Sorry about that. And then we will put it over here. And test this. That looks good. And they're going to be adjusting it anyway, so it's not super crazy important, but makes me a little sane. Okay, so I'm going to copy these and replace it here, and then here I'm going to search for middle and replace it with ring. Copy all that. Paste. Then gonna do pinky. Okay. And then let's before I do that, I want to adjust the Z. Let's put this at actually -0.5. Okay, create Proxy Rig. There we go, we have the ring finger. And then let's copy the ring finger. And then we're going to search for ring, replace it with pinky, replace all, copy all this, go back to skeleton, and paste it. And then starting off here with the pinky, gonna do -1. Okay, so we have the creating of the proxy rig. We have all 4 of the fingers, and then let's create a thumb. And the thumb is going to essentially be the same thing, but in a different position. So let's find pinky, replace it with thumb. Okay, copy all this, and then let's go over here, paste it. And then this, let's figure out where we will be at. So let's do from the palm out. So we're at x12. Let's actually just copy all these values here. So we're starting off at the thumb, or at the palm, and we basically want to bring it out forward. So it's going to be 0.5. Then that, but it's going to be 0.5. Then this. Do it at 1. And at 1. Then at 1.5. And 2. Okay, let's test this out. So these are the thumb joints. They are a little bit hard to tell with the grid of objects here. So what I'm going to do is just make them go a little bit lower and then step down each one. So that's the Y values. So here, let's do it 13.5 on the Y. Then 13, 12.5, and 12. Okay, Proxy Rig. There we go. You can position those. Then here, can we set the locator size? Because I'd like them to be smaller, so that way they are not as intrusive. Here we have lock 1. So are these duplicated for some reason? We have thumb 0, 1, 2, and 3. Let's try running this whole code again, see if it clears up. Make sure that that's there. So if I deleted all those, I still have that, so I'm creating them a double at some point. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Index, middle, ring, pinky, thumb. Okay, I'm gonna pause this. I'm gonna see where that happened and then I'll fix it. I'll let you know where we found it and how we fix it. Okay, I think I found where it is. So I called it index 3, and then on the end joint, I called it index 3 as well. So that is something that we have to update here. Ridge underscore end underscore end on each one of those end joints over here. Underscore end underscore end. underscore end underscore end underscore end underscore end underscore end and underscore end. Let's see if I found all of them. There we go. The other thing that I noticed is that each one of those end joints are exactly the same position here. So let's do 14. Oops, negative 14. 14. Negative 14. 14 and negative 14. Okay. 14. Negative 14. And then with the thumb, the end locator should be different already because we did that manually. So let's see that. Oops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That looks right. Okay. So we have all of this working properly. We have the whole skeleton. So let's save this. And when we create this, we can see that we have locators for the whole skeleton. It's a little bit hard to follow just because of there not being connections between them like we would have with joints. But if you select them, you have the names. So let's create those connections so that way it's a little bit visually easier. And also, let's see if we can adjust the size of these locators. We can play around with the size, but let's see if when we create locator, here we go. Let's look at the command documentation real quick. And we have the name, position, relative. So we don't have access to it when we create it. So when we change it, it's going to be this attribute here. So what we can do is a set adder, mc.set adder. And then we're going to do my lock plus shape dot local scale. We'll do x. And let's do that at 0.2. Copy this, paste it, and then this is going to be pasted it twice, and we're going to do y and z. Let's see if when we create it now, it'll be a little bit more manageable. Like that. Okay. Now that I have that, let's start looking at adjusting or creating the connections between locators. So going to go ahead and create a function. Oh, we already defined it. Sorry, at the beginning of it, we just put pass, create line link. So in here we need lock 1 and lock 2. So we need 2 locators that we are going to be using to create the locators. So the first thing, it's my line, we need to do is create a curve, mc.curve, and we're going to do point or degrees equals 1 and point. Here we need 2 points. And there's going to be a comma there. The first one is going to be at 0, 0, 0. And then the second one's going to be at 0, 0, 0. Oh, and then I need to close the parentheses. So we do this. This should be an equal sign. There we go. Oops, let's run this again. I pushed it twice. So now when we do that, we have a curve somewhere. Nope, because we haven't told it to create any curves yet. But we create a curve. So let's do this. mc.select cl equals true, so I can clear the selection before I start working with the lines. So we're going to do create line link. I think that's what we called it. Yep, create line link. And then let's say we connect the pelvis with the hip. Okay, so we have the pelvis and the hip created there. So let's run this and see if we have any issues. There we got the curve. That is great. And it's just there at the origin. So we want to be able to have curve points, and we select them to create a cluster. So we can see select. It looks like it just did 1 point, but we're going to use EP for endpoints. Okay. So we're going to say, let's go back to the create line. MC dot, or let's print my line. I want to make sure that it's not in a group for some reason. That's good, it's not. Okay, so what we can do is select the CV that we need. My line plus dot CV 0. And then we'll say cluster 1 do C1. Be a little bit easier. Cluster 1 equals MC dot create cluster. Create cluster. There we go. And let's see if that worked. So it did not. And I actually want, instead of CV, I'm going to do EP. So let's just try cluster. My line is not defined on line 99. My line, because we need a capital L. No errors that time. We created a cluster, so let's check this cluster. Okay. Then let's copy this here. Oops, I don't want that. Paste that there. It's going to be cluster 2. Select my line EP1. Proxy. We have 2 clusters. One goes here, and one goes here. Where is the curve? The curve is still there. Control vertices. Just want to see. Yep, we have both of those. So maybe I was right with the create cluster and it didn't work because I had the my line with the lowercase l. So let's do create, capital C, create cluster. Create cluster. Let's see if that works. So now if we select this, we have that, and we have this. So it's not working. Let me pause the video so I don't waste more of your time, and I'll figure out why this isn't working and then update it for you guys. Okay, I figured it out. Basically, I was using the EP, and we can't actually move anything with the EP. We needed to use the CV. So on the select for both of these, I switched it over to CV, and then it started working. So if we run it now, we can see that the cluster will affect the line. So here we're able to select the line as well. So we'll want to prevent that, and we're going to actually end up parenting the clusters to the locators. So that is going to be useful, and then we're going to hide the visibility on these as well. So let's go ahead and go here. And let's say mc.parent c1 to lock 1. And then once we have done that, we can do mc.set adder on C1. We're going to add .tx, and we'll do the same thing for y and z. So we're setting it to 0 because we made it the parent of the locator we want it to go to. So when we do that, it will allow us to put it right on that other object, which you'll see in a moment. And then let's do one more, but we're going to turn the visibility off on this one. And V is for visibility. Here we go. And then from parent all the way down through to the end of this. We just got to do that with the second one. And I keep on running it on accident. There we go. So this is going to be 2, and then lock 2. Let's copy this. Okay, run the code and do this. And let's see where our clusters ended up. So we have the pelvis way up there, and the cluster is the parent to that. So we did the parenting backwards, it looks like. Let me run this one more time and see if we got an error. So we did get some sort of error. Let's double check that. Line 104. That is this here. Oh, because the cluster creates cluster and the handle. So if we were to, let's just print C1, you'll see that we actually get a list here. And it has one object, and it doesn't have the handle. Where we can see that it does have the word handle over here that we need to access. So, what we can do so that we don't modify a lot of code is C1 is equal to C1, the first index item, and then plus handle. And then we'll copy this after C2, paste that there, except that it's going to be 2 instead of 1. Let's see what happens here. Line 101. Create cluster C1. It did give us a let's test that print again. Print C1, and then we are going to print C1 right after it. Create proxy rig, so here at 102, it's the same line. So when we print C1 right here, it is not giving us a value for the cluster. So that is what our problem is. So let's give it a name. So with the name, what I'm going to do is, okay, so I am going to give it a name. Name equals C1. And then we'll add so that it will work there. And then we have to get rid of this because it doesn't know what that is. And then we can copy this in place of this. Okay, so we need to do the same kind of thing over here. And let me pause this to see if there's a better way, because I'm a little bit hesitant because we can get copies of the same name with this. So give me 1 second. Okay, let's try this. Actually, give me 1 second, one more second. Okay, so this is working with this, but I am going to do it a little bit different. Let's do it with the cluster command rather than create cluster. And then let's name it C1. And then this is going to be C1 is equal to, and then let's just print C1. Okay, so that looks good. And then let's do the same thing here. It's going to be for 2. And then we can get rid of this. And let's remove this and do that here after we have created both of the clusters. And let's print C1 and see if we get a value now. Line 102. C2 equals, what is it? No deformable object selected. Oh, okay, that was what we had that there for. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, cool. So this is where we have the list, we have the handle, and we have the cluster name. So we can say C1 is equal to C1 in the first index spot. And then the C2 is equal to C2 index spot 1. And let's see if that works. There we go. We didn't get an error that time. And we can see that we have a connection there. That looks great. And then let's take the line here, and we'll set an adder. So mc.setAdder my line. I think that's what I called it. Yep, my line. Plus dot template is true. Okay, so we can see that there is a line there. And if we select these, it will keep that connection there. And we have the curve. That is great. Right now, that all works properly. Let's just clear the section, mc dot select CL equals true. Okay. And here we've created 1. Now, create this again. And this is going to the right side. And because I created a naming structure that kind of makes sense, we can do this a little bit faster than copying and pasting the attributes. So it's going to be knee and ankle. Okay, so let's just test this now that we have a few in there. Oh, because we got C, this should be L, L, and let's keep it on the left side. And they should be capital L's, so let's fix that. Okay, let's try that again. Create Proxy Rig, no errors. And we can see that we're having some connections happening. So, since I know this is mirrored, I'm going to make this step a little bit faster so that we don't have to do both the right and left hand side. So, we'll put the center always first. Okay. I'm going to say if left is this one right here, then we will do 2 versions of it. So create line link right here. We create the line, select the line. We've created the cluster. So we're going to say we want to create a variable check L or R is equal to lock1 dot split. We're going to split it by the underscore. Okay, so we have that. Then we can take this variable, check L or R is equal to check L or R index 0. Then I can say if check L or R is equal to, or actually L or C, that makes more sense. L. And I'll do this at the end. Over here of this function. Then what we're going to do is take the variable name we're going to take oops, our lock 1 is going to be equal to L, or lock 1, yeah. Lock 1 dot replace we're going to find the L underscore and replace it with R underscore. And then actually let's copy all this right here. And then this is going to be our lock 2, lock 2, replace L with R. Let's print both of these values before we go too far. Print L rock 1 and L rock 2. Line 102. I assigned it here. Boop, boop. Let's try that again. Check L or C. Oh, it's because I didn't update that one there. There we go. Line 122. And that's the same issue where I had a C, or R instead of a C. There we go. So we can see that with those two that we created already, we have the R versions of that. So we're doing the opposite side. So let's try this now. We're going to call this function in this same function, but we're going to replace it with this and this. Let's save this before I go too far and run this. And let's see if it works. There we go. We have both sides for the price of 1. Okay. That will save us quite a bit of time now. I'm going to copy this. And we're going to be at ankle, ball of toe. Let me double check that is how I wrote it. Ball of foot and then toes. Okay. Ball of foot. this is going to be ball of foot to toes. Running everything to make sure it's working properly. And line 89, because I have a capital T, should be lowercase t. 89, L lock toes. L toes. Oh, because we have an end. Underscore end. Great, no error. And let's see here. And then we can move and position things wherever we need. That is great. Okay. Save the script, and then let's go ahead and keep on going. We did all of the legs, so we've done this section. Now we need to do the spine. So it's waist, lower chest, sternum, upper chest, neck, mid-neck, head, top of the head. So we're going to start off with the pelvis. That would be great. C pelvis to C underscore waist underscore lock. Okay. And then we have the lower chest, I believe. Lower chest, yep. Copy this, paste it, waist, lower chest. And then this is going to be lower chest to sternum. Copy this. And this is going to be sternum to upper chest. And then from upper chest, we go to neck, mid-neck, head, and top head. Upper chest to neck. And then here, gonna go from neck to mid-neck. Then from mid-neck to head. And then from head to head, top, neck, or Okay, now that we have the spine, let's run it, make sure that there is no errors and that it looks proper. And it does. That is good. Okay. Let's take all of these curves and clean up the outliner here as well. So let's we're gonna need more of these, but do MC dot group, and it's gonna be curve, and we'll put a star here so that way it gets all the curves. And let's give it a name. Name equals curves, and that should be a string. Created it. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to go from left clav to the center. Oh, this is going to be a problem. Going to have to do both of them from the center. Upper chest to the clav. And this is going to be L. So because it's connecting to the center, we can't automate it. Maybe with a little bit more effort, and we could, but I'm just doing this as quick as I can. So this is upper chest here, and we're going to go to R. Then we can do L clav to L shoulder. Copy that and paste. Oops, clav, no E, clav. So we're going to go from the shoulder to the elbow. Then we're going to go from the elbow to the wrist. Then we're going to go from the wrist to the palm. And let's check this really quick. I misspelled wrist. Okay, it looks like it worked. We did get an error though. Let's check what that error was. Did we get an error? No, that was a holdout from before, but it's not copying over to the opposite side. Let's save this really quick and run it. Test again. So I do want this to be mirrored over on this side, and it is not. So I'm going to pause this for a second, and then I'll find out what's going on. Okay, so I was checking, and when I created the clavicles, I put C's instead of L's. So all of these are on the left side, and we can fix that way. Now, if we run this, if it's named properly, we should have everything mirrored on both sides. There we go. Save the script. Okay. Start creating all the locators. There we go. Wrist to the palm. Then we're going to go out to the fingers. So we're going to start off with palm. And then it'll be index 0, 1. Then index 0, 1 to 0, 2. From 0, 2 to 0, 3. And then from 0, 3 to end. Okay, let's just run through this and make sure that it works. And it does. So what I want to do now is kind of batch that out with the search and replace for the rest of the fingers. So I'm going to copy this. Get over here and paste it. And then we're going to search for index middle, replace it with that. Okay, we can go back over here. Now we have all of the middle created. Then we're going to search for middle, replace it with ring. Copy that, paste it there. And then ring and replace it with pinky. Copy and paste. And then we need the thumb. Pinky, thumb. Replace all. Copy, paste, and let's test this. No errors. And we have all of the fingers created. Great. Okay. After we create this group, I'm going to just clear the selection. CL equals true. Okay, so we're clearing the selection here. And then, now that we have that cleared, we are done with creating the proxy skeleton. Now we need to allow the user to be able to manipulate it. We can give them a tool to mirror. So let's see, we have the Proxy Rig. We have the create locator, create line link, and then align tool. Oh, this was going to be the line tool, but we don't have it. Let's switch this. We don't need it anymore. This is going to be mirror tool. So, going to create a variable here for type. And then we'll create a button on our UI. And let's call this mirror selection. And then we have the mirror tool here. And then type, let's put that as a string. And we will call it a selection. Okay. So this whole line here, I can copy it, and I'm going to make 2 more versions of this tool. And then this is going to be mirror left to right. And then we're going to do a mirror right to left. So we have these buttons here. That works out well for us. Now we can use this mirror option here. So I'm going to say L for one of the options and R for the other one. So I'm going to say if type equals, we need 2 equal signs, equals 2. Selection. Then mirror objs. So our mirror objects are going to be equal to something. The selection, so mc.ls sl equals true. Okay, so for object in mirror objs, so for each object inside of the mirrored objects, so that way we can do multiple of them. What do we want to do? We want to get the opposite of it. So we need to get the object's name. So we have the object, and then mirror object. It's going to be equal to, actually, yeah. No. Let's do side is equal to object dot split, and we're going to split it by the underscore. Then side is equal to side 0, because that will be our right or left, and it'll be an L or an R. And then we're going to say if side is equal to L. Oops. Then we want to set the attribute of the R value. So we want to get mirrored side is equal to object dot replace, and then we're going to do L underscore with R underscore. Okay, so that's the side that we want to mirror. So we're going to do mc.set adder mirrored side plus dot tx is going to be equal to -1 times mc.get attr, and the attribute that I want to get is of object plus dot tx, and then we need to close the set adder here. Okay, so let's copy this, and we're gonna paste it a couple more times. We're gonna do ty, the tz, y, and z, and then for these we are not going to multiply it by -1. It's just going to be the exact attribute. Okay, so that mirrors the left side. And then let's copy this, paste it here, and then let's do L if side is R, and then we're going to do R with L. So we're basically doing the opposite side. Okay, so just so that I don't have to repeat all of this code over and over again, I'm going to take it out of that if statement, because what we'll do is make an if statement for each one of these mirror objects. So here we can do L if type is equal to L, which I think is what we named it here. Yep. Which goes over here. So we need to set this variable equals. So we got to get the selection, mc.select, and we're going to say L underscore star, close, and then we're going to copy this and sure it's mc.ls selection equals true. So then we do this. And on this one, we're going to switch it from L to R. There we go. So that will select the right side versus the left side. And let's save this and test this out right now. There may be some issues still, but I want to see where we're at. So let's take this and let's try mirroring the selection. So we have an error. Mirror not defined. Let's see over here. So I'm calling it mirror, but it's mirror tool. Okay. Let's create a proxy rig. And then let's check to see if we can mirror the section. There we go. And let's try changing this side. There we go. That works. That's good. So let's make a big change over here. We're going to mirror it left to right. And here's the issue that we have. We're getting the shape nodes as well as the transform nodes. So over here, you can do selected is equal to true, or here, tr equals true. I believe we have tr there for transforms. So let's see. We do not in the select, so it's going to be in the list. So let's remove that from there. And here in the list, transform equals true, transform equals true. Let's see if that works. So we gotta create a skeleton, and let's just change this and mirror left to right. That works out for us. It does leave everything selected, so I do want to fix that. I don't want to have anything selected at the end. So after we do all the mirror, tab, mc.select, cl equals true. Oops, that's a 0. I need a close parentheses. Okay, create proxy rig, and then mirror left to right. There we go, that looks proper. Then let's do right to left. Okay, that looks good. This is something that I want to fix on all these center locators. I want to lock it where I can't move it along the x-axis so that it doesn't mess up our rig. So let's open up the script editor. So here on the create locator, we have the locator name. We can split the name to see if there's a C. And if there's a C, we will set the translate X to lock. So we're going to say side equals lock name dot split by underscore, and side equals side 0. And then we can do an if statement. If side is equal to C, then what we want to do is set the attribute for the locator that we just created. Tx lock equals true. So if we create this proxy rig, we don't have any errors. That's great. And if we look at all of the center, it is locked on the X, so that way we can't move it off the X, the center axis, but we can still move it around wherever we need it. So that way we can mirror our rig. Okay. Now that we have this, let's create a new tool, a new button on our window. Here's our window, and create a button, mc.button, label equals create a skeleton from Proxy Rig. And then C equals create JNTS. And we need the open close parentheses. Okay. So right now everything is working. We have this extra button. We got to get that working. So once the skeleton is created and positioned where we want everything, we want to be able to push this button. Right now there's no function for create joints, but once we do that, we want to basically get rid of this proxy skeleton and create the joints in its place. So let's go to the code here. Let's copy that function name and let's define that. So what we want is to create all the locators. So let's do mc dot select underscore lock, but we're going to put a star there. And then locks is equal to mc.ls sl equals true. And then let's just print locks right now. So create a proxy rig. And here, do we have any of the shape nodes? Doesn't look like it. Everything is just the locators, which is what I want. That's perfect. So now that I have access to the locators, what we can do is for lock in locks, let us create a joint, mc.joint, and we're going to do it, we're going to need to get some names and stuff like that. So let's say name equals JNT name. Okay, so how do we get the name of the locator? Well, we know we have the locator. So we're going to say JNT name is equal to lock dot replace. Then we're going to search for underscore lock and replace it with underscore JNT. Okay, let's copy this, paste it. Actually, I don't need to paste that. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay, so we have the joint here. It's going to be named whatever the joint is. Then let's set the position is equal to, so we have 3 values in here. It's going to be mc dot get adder lock plus dot tx. Let's copy this. Then it's going to be comma, and then we're going to do ty and tz. Okay. Let's minimize this really quick. We got the skeleton, and we have an issue 189. So I think this is the 100. Yep. 189 is this line here. I'm just making it bigger so that it's easier for you guys to follow along. There we go. So only one transform or joint can be selected for creation. That's not right. Is that 1? Yep. Oh, 198. This one right here. Create line link upper chest locator to clav. Let's try running this again. Create proxy rig. That's good. Create skeleton. Only one transform or joint can be selected for creation. Oh, okay. I know what's going on. Let's go over here. So let's, before we create the joint, the mc dot select CL equals true. So we're going to clear the selection before we create the joint, and that will make sure that we don't have any objects selected when we're creating the joints. There we go. We have all the joints for our skeleton selected. Or created. So we've created all the joints. That is great. Now all we got to do is parent them together. So like This is going to be parented to that. This will be parented to this, and so forth. So, let's go back to our code. And create joints. And there we go. Now we need to just start parenting the joints together. So it's going to be mc.parent. And we need the L underscore hip underscore C or JNT. That is going to be parented along with the right side. Hip underscore JNT, and also with the waist. So C underscore waist underscore JNT. So all of these are going to be parented under the pelvis. So we're going to do C underscore pelvis underscore JNT. Okay, so let's test this out. Create Proxy Rig. Create skeleton. You can see all that worked out properly. That's great. Okay. Let's save this. And then create joints. Here we go. And then I think I'm going to create a parent function for the left, so that way when we do the left on one side, it's going to do the right of the other as well. So define parent JNT. And we're going to need the child, comma, parent, JNT. There we go. Child and parent. So what we want to do is mc.parent child JNT to the parent JNT. Then we're gonna since we already know that we're going to do it with the left, and we can kind of Mickey Mouse it because we know we're not going to be using it for anything else. We can say reverse or R child JNT is equal to child JNT. Let's keep this consistent. Child JNT dot replace, and we're going to do L underscore with R underscore. to do this as a if statement, which means I need to know if it's left and right. So I'm still going to need to do that. So we're going to say check side is equal to child JNT dot split we're going to split by the underscore. Check. Just do if check side 0 is equal to L. Then we're going to do all this. So we replaced the objects, and then, oh, we're just going to be parenting it. I don't need to do all this. So do that and that, and just do MC dot parent our child and our parent. There we go. We don't need to run it a function within itself. There we go. So we parent the child, and then we swap the letters, and then we parent the right sides. Okay. So we haven't set up any of them, so let's do that here. MC dot. Actually, it's not going to be MC anymore. It's going to be parent joints. And then we're going to say L underscore hip underscore JNT. And this has to be inside of quotes. And then not the hips, but we're going to say the knee, and that's going to go to the hips. L underscore hip underscore JNT. Okay. Moment of truth. And it did work. Great. Okay, so we'll keep on going down the list. Let's copy this. It's going to go to, actually, it's going to be really similar to something we already did. This right here, where we're creating the links, we're going to be parenting instead. So it's going to be to the hip, to the knee. Yeah. So let's copy all of this, and we'll give ourselves a shortcut so that we don't have to type all that out. So here we have all of this. And then let's go to the joint function. We have this. So let's do find and replace with that. Replace all. And then we're going to find underscore lock and replace it with underscore JNT. Let's replace all. And then I think that will work. Let's test it out. If we can save ourselves a little bit of time here, that would be great. So we started with the Oh. So here we have the hip to the knee. So we're doing it in reverse here. So let's just change the order that we have them in here. We're going to remove that there. And then comma, paste that there. Okay. Let's test this. Create Proxy Rig. Create skeleton from Proxy Rig. We do have an error. Okay, because those were variables, and we are not asking for variables. We need them to be strings. So we can just do this, which will be way faster than what we did. Oh, I got an idea. Let's copy all of this again. We will be able to do this the fast way. Okay, so we're going to search for L underscore and replace it with quote L underscore. Replace all. Oh, and we don't need any of these center joints. We're going to parent them directly. So we'll worry about that in a minute. Let's make sure that we have all of these fixed. And then let's do search for underscore JNT and replace it with underscore JNT with a quote. That works well. And then let's do the C underscore. Replace it with C underscore. Replace all. There we go. This is going to be a little bit different on this one. So this works. Let's copy this, and we're going to have to make some changes and paste it. So we have this whole section here that is the center. So let me separate that out. Okay, and then we're going to just do mc.parent. And then we're going to swap these. Okay, almost there. Cut that out. Burst it. Okay, so here we are parenting that. That's fine. That is what we want. Okay. And I don't think we have any other ones that are weird, so let's try that. We have an unexpected indent. That is this. There we go. Create proxy rig. Create skeleton. Ooh. So line 243. No object matches. L underscore toes underscore JNT. So L underscore toes underscore JNT. So let's look at what we did up here when we created the locators, because we should have it with an end joint, and if we don't, we'll add it right now. Toes. So we named it over here, but we didn't do that here. And underscore and head top underscore end. And all the fingers we did properly. Okay. So let's test this out. Create proxy rig, create skeleton. Now we did have an error, but it went further along. So let's see what the error that was. 206. Command error. Let me make this smaller so that we can get to it quicker and see what is going on. Oh, because we already parented the waist. Okay, let's try that now. Okay, proxy rig. Ho, that's a lot closer. Let's see, 241. The index underscore JNT. So I thought we went through and checked to see if those were labeled correctly. Index end. Oh, because I have the 03. I got rid of that there. Let's do that for all these fingers. Right here. Okay, let's test this. Create rig. Create proxy rig. No errors. That's great. Okay, so if we were to run this again, and we create the proxy rig, and we'll see that if we change things up, we can make it weird. Oops. Okay, and then let's mirror left to right, and then let's create a proxy rig. It will take all that same information that we just created there. The only thing that is weird right now is that the pivots of the joints are not aligned, so we can basically orient joints on all of the hierarchy. So let's go all the way down here. Let's say MC. Can I just zoom in so it's a little bit bigger for you guys? MC dot select. I'm gonna do C underscore. Oh, but we need it as a string. C underscore pelvis underscore JNT. HI, which will allow us to select the hierarchy. So HI is equal to true. And then what we're going to do is MC dot joint edit equals true. Orient joint equals, let's say, X, Y, Z. And I think that's like that. Let's check the joint command really quick. We should have an example of something like this. Edit equals true. That's setting the limits. Edit equals true. Orient joint XYZ. That's a string. ZSO. Let's see what that is. ZSO. Zero scale orient. It sets the orientation to 0 and compensates the change by modifying the translate. I don't think I want that, but I want to see why on the command. Limit y. Secondary axis. String, let's say y up. SAO. Okay. So going back over here. SAO is equal to y up. And let's just check that I spelled that correctly really quick before I go much further. Y up, yeah, no capitals, no everything. Okay, let us try that. So, create a proxy rig, create skeleton, and then here we can see that the joints are following. If your joints are not following right after that, what you can do is double click on your move tool and make sure that you're not in world, but you're in object mode. So if you're in world, you'll see it line up with the world. You won't see the orientation. But here we can see all of the orientations. Okay, the only one, although with this you can't really tell, except that the, if we select the joint here, that the X is not pointing in the right direction. So we can fix that, but all the other joints should be pointing in the direction of the skeleton. Here, this one flips. So to prevent this flipping, well, yeah, we will, the way we have it here, we can't exactly prevent the flipping on this joint in particular. If we had it straight on the axis, we could and then move it out, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's for everything that I'm going to do, it's going to work fine. So we could, if we need to, orient these end joints. And basically what you would do is select the target, select the object to be constrained, and then constraint aim. I'll aim it that way, and then you go through and delete the cluster, except that we have it in the opposite direction right now. So we do that, and let's go to the constraint option box, or the orient constraint option box, and then oh sorry, not orient constraint, but aim. Constraint aim option box, and then the aim vector is 1 on the x, but we can make that -1, and then apply that, and you can see that now it is facing the same direction as the other one, and then we can delete it. So we can select to see if we have the parent for it. So we could do it manually. There's not too many joints. We can also select it. We can do it automatically, where we can search for end joint and then line up the end joints using a method. So we can do something like mc.select star, it should be in quotes, star underscore end underscore JNT. And then just to see that is working, we should only have the end joints selected. That is good. So what we can do is create a list, end JNTS is equal to mc.ls sl equals true. And then we can say mc dot, or not mc, let's create a function, align end joints. And then end JNTS, which is the list that we just created. So let's define this. So we can do for end JNT in and JNTS. What do we want to do? Let's start off by figuring out what its parent is. So if we were to have this and we wanted to get its parent, we can push up on the keyboard, which is called a pick walk, direction up. So let's see if we can do that. There's also list relatives. Let me check if list relatives will work. mc.list. Okay, so I can list relatives, look at the command documentation. We could do all parents, full path, children, all descendants, parent. We can list the parent. So let's do that. List relatives, P equals true. And then let's make this into my parent J and T is equal to this. And then let's just print parent J and T just to make sure that this is working. So yeah, it looks like it is working. We got the head joint, then all the 3 points for the fingers. Then we should have the ball of foot. Yep. Okay, that is awesome. That gives us what we need. So we need to do an aim constraint. So mc dot aim constraint. And let's look at how the aim constraint works. So orient the aim vector of a cube in its local coordinate space to point at cone 1. Okay, so target object to be constrained is going to be the order. So the target is going to be the parent joint. And then the object to be constrained is the end joint. Then let's look at the code here. We want to specify the aim vector. So that's aim. We're going to make sure it goes along the -1x. Aim equals -1. Oops. -1, comma 0, comma 0. Okay, and then the up vector. Let's find that here. We have up vector, which is u, and it's going to be float, so we can set it to y. It does say that the default value is y1, but I'm going to do it anyways. U equals 0, comma 1, comma 0. Okay. Create the rig. Create. There we go. Let's see. That is there. This is not right. Let's see. We have the aim constraint. That is good. But it is not aiming the way we thought it would. So what we're going to do is mc dot parent we're going to select end joint, comma, and then unparent. Let's see what the flag for unparent is. World. So we need to parent it to the world. World equals true. Okay, so this is going to disconnect all of them, and then we're going to try to do the aim constraint. Proxy rig, and then that. Let's make sure that we have this on object. We do. We do not have a constraint. What happened? Okay, proxy rig. Okay, we do have an error, that's why. 247 end, not joint, but JNT. 248. Target list was empty or contained no valid targets. So we have the in constraint, which is going to go to the parent, and then end joint. Let's look at the aim constraint one more time. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's go over here. What does E equal? Oh, that's edit. Contain offset. I'm not sure. Okay. Let's play around with it then. So right now, what's going on? We get an error. It says target list was empty. Oh, okay. Because this is a list right now, we need to just choose that object. None. So that's because, let's say we didn't unparent it. Okay. Now let's try it this way. So it's saying that 248 for the parent, it's listed as none. Let's just print that value. Just so that we can see what's going on there. So it does say that it is none. But if we get rid of this, do we get a value? So we are, oh, list relatives, we need to get specifically for that joint. Let's try that again. Create Proxy Rig. There we go. Now we have that joint specifically. Then we will, let's try it without the unparenting, because that will be an extra step if we needed to do it. Okay, now it's working properly when we are actually telling it to work with the right objects. That helps. Okay, so that is working. Now we just need to delete the constraint. So let's make this equal to a variable. My constraint is equal to that. Then we can say mc.delete my constraint. Create Proxy Rig, create skeleton, and there we go. So if we select one of these, we don't have any constraint in there. Everything is set. We probably want to freeze the transformations on this. So it'd be modify. Freeze transformations. But when we do that, we lose the orientations for there. So let's say if it was here, we knew that we wanted it to be in this direction here. So that's, let's say 60. I'm just testing this out really quick. Then, so that is aimed the right way. Then we have rotate 60 there. We have joint orientation. So if we do 60 here, but bring this back to 0, that's lined up where we want it. So we want to take that value from the rotations and add them to the joint orientations, because none of these, they're all in the joint orientations. They're not in the values there. So basically we need to set these values. So let's, now that we have everything set up, let's go all the way to the bottom. There you go. Joint orient. It's a set adder with the joint name. So MC dot set adder, and it's going to be end JNT plus dot joint orient. We'll say X, and that's going to be equal to MC dot get adder and JNT plus dot RX okay, and then we can close that set adder. And then we're going to do MC dot set adder and JNT plus dot TX, or sorry, RX, comma, is going to be equal to 0. Okay, now we can do this for the Y and the Z. So Y and Y and Y, Z and Z and Z. Okay, so let's see if this works. Create Proxy Rig, then we can create the skeleton. So if we look at this, this is not lined up correctly, but let's check the attributes. Here, joint orientation. Okay, did we get any errors? Let me check. I don't need to print all these joints. So let's just comment this out before I zero out anything to see what is happening with the joint orientation here. Create proxy rig, create skeleton. And here it is aimed, we can see it's negative 90. And the rotation here is negative 90. Let's see on the aim constraint, we're at negative 1. If we put it at 1, let's see what happens. We're still in the same position, although this is 90. Okay, I think part of the problem is that we are parented to here. Let's see if we, after do MC dot parent and JNT, comma world equals true. No errors, that is good. So we have this and it's disconnected. Oops. Let us go in and check this. So I want this to be negative. And that is set up the way we want it. Everything is working properly. And then we can do mc.parent. And we are going to parent the end joint to the parent joint. Let's see. Now we have the connection here, and it is lined up correctly. Let's run this one more time and just verify by changing one of these locators like this. And then we can create that, and we can see that the X is still lined up. That is good. And that should be the case for all of the joints, so the X should be lined up over here. That is good. That's very good. Okay, so let's see. I could go back to my window here. Create skeleton from Proxy Rig. That is create joints. And that was what we did here, create joints. So after we do all of this, we've aligned the end joints. Now we can clean up our scene. We want to delete. Let me save this project so I don't lose it. The locators and the curves. And okay, so we got this. Now we are left with just the joints. And then let us create a group for the joints. So mc.group, and we're going to group C underscore pelvis underscore JNT into that, and then let's give it a name. Name equals JNTS. There we go. Create proxy rig. Create skeleton. Let's double check. That is good. This group, the pivot is in a weird position because it is taking the average of all these points. So what we can do is with the group is create a empty group, and I think it's like em, yeah, em equals true. Em equals true. Then I copied that from the other one. I'm going to say mc dot parent the joint to the JNTS. Create proxy rig, create that, and now this is right at the origin, which is where I want it. That is perfect. MC dot select equals true, or select CL equals true, and that should be our skeleton generator. That looks pretty awesome. That works perfectly. All right, there's a lot more that we can customize with it. I think in a future lesson, what I'll do is I'll create a control rig, and I'll also create a namespace, so that way we can give all of these joints the character's name, so that way we don't lose the functionality of the rig if we have multiple rigs in the scene. All right, so that worked out pretty well. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.